The rain fell in steady sheets across the empty parking lot, drumming against the roof of the old Honda Civic like 1,000 tiny fingers. Inside the car, Emma Chen held her 3-year-old daughter, Lily, close to her chest, feeling the little girl's warm breath against her neck as she finally drifted off to sleep. Emma stared through the rain-streaked windshield at the darkened office building across the street. Just 6 months ago, she had walked through those doors every morning with her head held high, a marketing coordinator with a promising future. Now, she sat in a car that had become her temporary home, wondering how everything had fallen apart so quickly. The layoffs had come without warning. One day she was planning campaigns, the next day she was packing a cardboard box with her desk belongings. The apartment had been the first thing to go. She simply couldn't afford the rent on unemployment checks. Her parents had passed away years ago, and her ex-husband had disappeared after the divorce, leaving no forwarding address and no child support. Emma had tried shelters, but they were overcrowded and the waiting list stretched for weeks. She had tried friends' couches, but everyone had their limits. The car had seemed like the only option, just until she could get back on her feet. That was 3 weeks ago. Lily stirred in her sleep, making a small sound. Emma adjusted the blanket around her daughter's shoulders, tucking it more securely. At least it was summer, she thought. At least they weren't freezing. She had parked under a streetlight in this corporate parking lot because it felt safer than the alternatives. Security cameras watched over the area, and there was a 24-hour gas station 2 blocks away with a bathroom they could use in the morning. Emma closed her eyes, trying to quiet the storm of worry in her mind. Tomorrow she had a job interview at a marketing firm downtown. She had ironed her interview clothes and hung them carefully on a hanger hooked to the grab handle above the back seat. She had mapped out the nearest place where she could freshen up. She had practiced her answers to interview questions while Lily colored in the backseat with crayons from the dollar store. She could do this. She had to do this. The knock on the window came so suddenly that Emma's heart nearly stopped. She jerked her head toward the driver's side window, instinctively pulling Lily closer. Through the rain-blurred glass, she could make out the silhouette of a man holding an umbrella. He was well-dressed, wearing a suit despite the late hour. For a moment, Emma's fear spiked. Was this security? Was she about to be told to leave? The man stepped closer, and in the glow of the streetlight, Emma could see his face more clearly. He was perhaps in his mid-40s, with kind eyes and an expression of concern rather than anger. He gestured gently, asking if she would roll down the window just a little. Emma hesitated, then cracked the window an inch, not wanting to let in too much rain. "I'm sorry to startle you," the man said, his voice soft and careful. "My name is James Martinez. I'm the CEO of Martinez Solutions, that building right there." He nodded toward the office building. "I was working late and saw your car from my office window. I've noticed you've been parking here the last few nights." Emma's stomach dropped. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, her voice tight. "I didn't know it was private property. We'll leave right now, please. No, James interrupted gently, holding up his free hand. "That's not why I came out here. I wanted to make sure you were okay." Emma didn't know what to say. She felt Lily shift against her, still asleep, oblivious to the conversation. James seemed to sense her wariness. "I have a daughter too," he said quietly. "She's 12 now. I can't imagine what you must be going through, but I'd like to help if you'll let me." Something in his tone, the gentleness, the lack of judgment, made Emma's carefully constructed walls begin to crumble. Before she could stop them, tears began sliding down her cheeks. "I had an interview tomorrow," she whispered. "I was just trying to make it until tomorrow." James nodded slowly, rain pattering against his umbrella. "Where's the interview?" "Stellar Marketing Group, downtown. It's at 10. A flicker of recognition crossed James's face. "David Chen runs Stellar. Good company." He paused, thinking. "Listen, I know you don't know me, and I understand if this makes you uncomfortable, but I own a small guest house behind my property. It's fully furnished but empty. My mother used to live there before she moved to Arizona. You and your daughter are welcome to stay there. No rent, no strings attached. Just until you get back on your feet." Emma stared at him, unable to process what she was hearing. "I don't understand. Why would you do that?" James was quiet for a moment, looking out at the rain. 5 years ago, my sister was in a similar situation. She had 2 kids and nowhere to go after leaving an abusive relationship. A stranger helped her, gave her a job and a place to stay. That kindness changed her life. She's thriving now. He looked back at Emma. Sometimes we're in a position to help, and sometimes we're in a position to need help. Right now, I can help. Emma's mind raced. Every instinct told her to be cautious, to protect herself and Lily. But she also knew they couldn't keep living like this. She thought about that interview tomorrow, about trying to look professional and confident after sleeping in a car, about washing Lily's face in a gas station bathroom sink. You said no strings attached? Emma asked carefully. No strings attached, James confirmed. The guest house is yours for as long as you need it. If you get the job tomorrow, great. If not, you'll still have a safe place while you keep looking. All I ask is that someday, if you're ever in a position to help someone else, you do it. Emma looked down at Lily, sleeping peacefully in her arms, unaware that their lives were about to change. She thought about her daughter deserving a roof over her head, a real bed, a place to feel secure. Okay, Emma said softly, meeting James's eyes. Thank you so much. James smiled, relief evident on his face. Follow me, it's just a few miles from here. We'll get you both settled in somewhere dry and warm. As Emma started the car, her hands shaking slightly as she gripped the steering wheel, she watched James walk back to his own car, still holding that umbrella against the rain. She thought about kindness, about strangers who became angels, about how sometimes help arrived exactly when you needed it most. The rain continued to fall as she pulled out of the parking lot, following James's taillights through the dark streets. But for the first time in weeks, Emma felt something she had almost forgotten. Hope, warm and steady, blooming in her chest like the first flowers of spring. Lily stirred awake as they drove, blinking sleepily. Where are we going, Mama? Emma reached back to squeeze her daughter's hand. Somewhere safe, sweetheart. Somewhere we can finally rest. And in that moment, with the rain washing the streets clean and a stranger's kindness lighting the way forward, Emma believed it was true.